Hi there, everybody. Eric Chilton here with the 4 to 5. Chad Silver and Lauren Coleman along.
We start with developing news on a shooting at the University of Virginia. Investigators say 3 members of the football team were killed and 2 people were hurt when Christopher Jones opened fire last night on a bus full of students.
Yeah, they were actually on their way back from a school field trip at the time. Police arrested the suspect this morning after an hours-long search, forcing students to shelter in place all night.
We both slept in the library underneath a desk, got a couple hours of sleep, and then woke up this morning without much news.
It's devastating. University officials say Jones is a student who played on the football team during his 2018 freshman year. However, this isn't the first time he's raised concerns. Police say Jones was brought to the attention of the UVA threat assessment team back in September after he made comments about having a gun.
The 3 young men who died are Deshaun Perry, Devin Chandler, and Lavelle Davis Jr. Perry was a junior linebacker who played in Saturday's loss to Pittsburgh. Chandler was a junior wide receiver who at one point lived in the Charlotte area. Davis was also a wide receiver, and coaches described him as a standout player with record-breaking accomplishments.
Right now, athletic departments across our state are offering their condolences following the shooting at UVA. Mike Elko, head football coach at Duke, posted this on Twitter. It reads, "Our hearts are truly saddened by the events that occurred last night at UVA. Our prayers are with the entire UVA community as they navigate through these difficult times." And at UNC, head coach Mac Brown left a similar message and offering up prayer. He said, "Our thoughts are with the people in Charlottesville, and we send our condolences to all those affected by this terrible tragedy." Yeah, it's unbelievable. You know, I went to UVA, I graduated in 2014, and when I woke up this morning, I got several text messages from classmates, even my own family members about this. And it was just, I was in disbelief because I was just on campus back in April for Black Alumni Weekend, and me and my friends, we still are talking about how much of a great time that we had, and to see something like this happen, it's shocking because I know violence and things can occur anywhere, but I truly felt safe when I was a student on that university's campus. So I'm really, you know, my heart goes out to the victims and their families, the students. We heard that young man say that they were hiding under a desk at school. When you think of school, you think of safety, and no one thinks that something like this will happen to them. So,
I think the conversation always comes back to mental health to me. You know, it's just, I don't know what else. I don't know what the answer is to this, but at some point, I think everybody's going to need to address mental health more seriously and openly in order to reach out to people that may have issues like that young man.
And recognizing the signs, because obviously friends or family or people who are around him, if you see something that's off, we really have to start normalizing that mental health is a thing. If that played a role in this case, so it's sad.
And I'm really curious to hear how this evolves, this investigation, considering what you had just said about how he was already on the radar of people who watch threat assessments. So I'm curious to see, the scrutiny that will take place and how it hopefully will get better from this.
Interesting too to see the story behind it eventually, because they were 3 football players and he was a former football player. And it's just, I just want to see how the story plays out.
Just seeing their pictures up there,
I know.
Such young men,
So sad.
Promising futures, gone way too soon because of the acts and selfish acts of somebody else.
It's true.
And I mean, it's one thing, to be in a sports team and to lose 1 member in a tragic way, but to have 3. I mean, and you're in the middle of a football season. I mean,
I'll also say, all 3 of those students are Black, and the Black community at UVA is very, very small. Everyone knows each other, so I'm pretty sure this is really hitting a lot of people close to home. A lot of students probably knew him. I probably know people who knew those students, so it's really sad.
It is. Well, and violence on college campuses, obviously this is an occurrence that we unfortunately hear about way too much. Today we have psychology expert Blanca Cobb digging deeper into its impact and how we can better address it. Blanca, first let's talk about how violence on a campus impacts the students there, and really to a degree even former students.
What happens, as we all know, is that people handle it differently. And 1 of 2 things are typically most common. And one is that people get really scared and they get nervous. Their whole sense of safety about being on campus gets shaken, and they become more hypervigilant and anxious, that they really can't enjoy life as they typically have. The other group of folks they get more desensitized to it and saying, here's just another one, that it becomes so common that they're just like going to continue with life as is, that they won't make any changes because they're like, what's going to be done anyway? It just keeps occurring on other campuses. It just hit ours this time.
Blanca, how do people talk about campus violence?
You have to talk about it just like you talk about anything else. It really is all about awareness. What happened? What are some possible reasons? Not speculation, but what does the research show, like why this might occur? And then also how to stay safe. That is so important when you talk about it. We all know that we can't predict everything that's going to happen in our future, and we don't have control in everything in our lives. But the more that you're aware, the more secure you're going to feel. And what happens is it tends to decrease some anxiety. It gives you some control, and then you're more able to move forward with your life.
Blanca, it seems like every other week we're hearing more and more reports of violence on college campuses at different schools. How do you cope with college violence that's occurring more frequently?
One thing is not to get desensitized to it because it seems to be occurring more frequently. So what that means is really talking to other people about your feelings, their feelings, what can be done, how as a group can you make the situation better, what kind of changes does the campus need to make. Maybe it's reaching out to legislation. Also, it's really more of a group think and a we, because we is what it's going to take to address violence on campuses across the country.
Thank you so much, Blanca. You can continue the conversation with Blanca on her Facebook page, Blanca Cobb, body language expert.
All right, let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup now. First up today, President Biden has met with China's president ahead of the G20 summit in Bali. It's the first time the two have met during Biden's presidency. The two leaders discussed Russia's aggression on Ukraine and their shared stances on nuclear weapons. Biden said he wants to manage the competition between the two countries responsibly. We got an update on that report card issue at Mendenhall Middle School last week. The principal sent a message saying GCS collaborated with the Power School security team to protect student data. Their solution is to give each student a new and unique password for login. You'll remember a computer glitch last week allowed parents to see other child's grades and their addresses along with their own. Experts say you could expect to pay 18% more on your heating bill this winter, thanks to an increase in heating oil costs. Now, if you need some help paying, the state offers a low-income energy assistance program. You can apply for help from December 1st through January 31st. Duke Energy also offers help through its Share the Light Fund. Call the utility to see if you qualify.
It has been a very cold day across the Triad. The way we started the day was just simply cold. No matter how you look at it, these numbers are quite frigid. 29 in Greensboro is where we kick-started things, 28 in Burlington. Everyone all across the Triad has been feeling winter to kick-start this Monday. Now, as we go and look across the nation, well, the temperatures really don't warm up much when we widen this view. When we look out towards the Midwest, these temperatures staying in the low 30s and 20s, 29 in Minneapolis. Thank God we're not there, but that's where we were this morning. That's right about those temperatures we were all feeling. All in the Northeast, they're also feeling the chill. Now, if we look down to the South, they're still sticking in the 60s, but we're getting this plume of cold northeastern Canadian air that won't be giving us a break all week long. We're talking chilly, wintry feels all the way through the end of this week and into the weekend. So this forecast planner showing you what you can expect tomorrow. Rain is in the forecast, and some folks maybe even get to see a wintry mix, especially early on in the day where these temperatures are on the lower side of things. Now, as we go through the entirety of the day, most of us may stay in the 30s throughout the entire day. 43, that's as warm as we get. That's what this map is showing you here. Those rain chances continue throughout the whole day. It's going to be a steady, ongoing rain throughout the day. One of those ugly days where it's just cold and wet, where you don't want to go to work, but you more than likely want to snuggle indoors with a blanket and some hot chocolate. That's the day we're getting tomorrow. So it's going to be a very chilly day all day long, and I'm preparing you so that tomorrow you do go to work because you already know what's ahead and in store in the forecast. After that, things are drier, but the next several days mean morning highs or morning lows in very chilly temperatures. Today we started at 29, tomorrow 34, and the next several days will be very cold. So I'll be talking more about what that rain is looking like in terms of rainfall estimates coming up.
Well, actress Jennifer Aniston posted today saying that her father, John Aniston, has died. The Days of Our Lives soap opera star was 89 years old. In addition to his successful acting career, he served in the U.S. Navy. Aniston passed away on Veterans Day. Earlier this year, his daughter presented him with his Daytime Emmy Lifetime Achievement Award. In her online tribute to him, Jennifer Aniston said her father died without any pain. We'll be right back.
Hey there, Facebook.
Hello, friends.
Let's get some better
Hey,
music, Brad.
face to the book.
We need a little bit of upbeat. That was a
Sad
sad.
I
That
know.
was a sad segment.
We're getting ready to
Get
talk
us
about
something
the Outer
else. Yeah, we're talking about the Outer Banks now.
Let's get some surf music.
Facebook people, let us know. Do you have a favorite place on the Outer Banks?
Do you know, I would venture to say that most people in North Carolina don't go to the Outer Banks as much as they do the southern beaches.
Absolutely. Well, it's twice as long.
It's
some
twice
places,
as long.
Right.
Yeah, but it's also, you know, for me growing up here, Wrightsville to Myrtle, you know, that whole stretch. But if you think about it, you know, because the coastline dips in, that's why it's a shorter drive.
Sure.
And I think more people would go there. I've only been to the Outer Banks twice in my life.
Really?
Yep. And I love it. It's not,
Right,
I don't
it's
like
just
it.
far.
It's a long way.
Yeah, and I mean, I would say, in my experience with both the Outer Banks and with, like what else? How do you, like the Grand Strand or that area?
Also the Crystal Coast, I think they call it, the
Yep.
beaches that face south, Holden.
I
and
would
all
say that those beaches are very similar to the Outer Banks.
Yes.
So if you don't need to drive double the distance, why not just go there?
In the Outer Banks too, there's not as much to do. It's more of a peaceful retreat, right? It's more like the beaches and then of course the horses, the Corolla thing. That is, I haven't
Right.
seen that, and I've always wanted
Right.
to see that.
So we recently went to the Outer Banks for this story that's coming up here, and it's my first time ever to Hatteras, or the Cape Hatteras National Seashore.
Yep.
I've been there for work, and we've gone to Kitty Hawk, we've gone to Kill Devil Hills, but never south. That was a really cool experience.
It's beautiful. If you want something to just hang out with your, where is that one?
I think this is our view from near Lake Jeanette's.
I was gonna
near
say.
Jeanette's Pier in Nags Head.
Nags Head. Oh, cool, very nice.
It's cold, but maybe you could use a nice view of the ocean right now. This is a live picture near Jeanette's Pier in Nags Head at the Outer Banks. We know that it looks beautiful, but we also know that it's cold, so maybe you don't want to be out there today. Not a good day to be on the beach, but before we know it, we will be back to summertime weather. I'm working on a story about the Outer Banks today and wondering, do you have a favorite spot in the Outer Banks? You said you've been there a couple of times in your lifetime.
I've only been twice, so I really can't say. I need to go more before I can say that I have a favorite spot. But I like the town of Manio. I just think it's so cute in the little downtown area.
I went once before. I think this was the summer of 2012 with my mother and my sister. I'm not sure what part of the Outer Banks I was at, but I liked it. It was really calm. It's definitely a family-friendly place to
it
go,
is.
especially if you have young children or something like that. If you're looking to, party like you would in
you
Myrtle
won't
Beach,
be there.
it's a different vibe. But
Right.
I thought it was very beautiful.
And one thing we were talking about during the commercial break was how it is less commercialized than you would see the other North Carolina beaches, right? I didn't see any high-rise condominiums or anything like that.
You know, a lot of the beaches like Holden, I'm trying to think of what's near Holden, Ocean Isle, that area, southern-facing beaches. Some of those towns have rules that you can't build over 3 stories.
Right. Oak Island.
So I don't know if that's the case with the Outer Banks, but they keep things a certain level.
And so, no doubt, the Outer Banks are a crown jewel in our state. People from all over the state and nation flock to the area for their beautiful beaches, incredible fishing, and a chance to relax in paradise. Now, lately, there have been efforts to save the Outer Banks. You might be surprised to know they're actually shrinking. Sea level rise and increasing beach erosion are causing major issues for the barrier islands.
it's been erosive in the past, but it didn't have erosion rates as high as what they've been in the last 5 or 10 years. The erosion rate in that area has increased.
So hard to forget these images of a house collapsing into the ocean earlier this year. Now, this house in Rodanthe was actually the second one to collapse in that area that day. And there are dozens of others facing similar risk. To go back to what that expert was saying, some areas in the Outer Banks, the erosion rate is 10 to 15 feet a year.
Really?
Wow, that's quick.
Oh,
So
that's
within 5
huge.
years, if somebody has a piece of property there, they could be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so the story I'm working on tonight is talking about the ways that they're trying to save the Outer Banks because those beaches are their livelihood. I mean, all of the beaches along the North Carolina coast are their livelihood.
So is there anything we can do to help save it on the ground level?
It's a much bigger picture.
Okay.
It's all about carbon emissions.
Change and all that good stuff.
It's wild to listen to some of these experts talk about how our carbon emissions are impacting sea level rise and how really it's something, it's a speeding bullet
effect.
and it's hard to stop it.
And it's a domino effect too. I was watching a special on this about how a sea level rise of even if it's a foot every 50 years sounds like nothing to us, but it's major for not only economy, because it's going to affect the coastline, but for weather as well, because when that ocean starts to rise and it changes temperatures, then that can help create more hurricanes, a whole big thing about all the ways it can negatively affect us.
So there, the expert who I spoke with said that sea level rise has risen a foot in the past 100 years, and now they're expecting it to rise a foot in the next 50 years.
Wow.
Goodness.
Well, I look forward to your report tonight.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
That video of that house crashing into the water was very scary.
It's crazy, yeah. So for the last few years, local leaders have taken measures to save the shrinking Outer Banks. I recently went there to see their efforts. You don't want to miss my story tonight at 11. We'll be right back.
A complicated weather system is bringing us active weather for your Tuesday. I think I could say even today has been pretty active just because it's been cold. I mean, it's just something that you don't expect, and we really shouldn't be feeling this time of year. January is when we get temperatures in the 40s, and talking about a wintry mix, not quite yet. At least I'm not ready. But we're picking it up on the satellite and radar out west of us, right around Oklahoma and areas to the north of it, even looking into Nebraska, and rain extending all the way through Tennessee. You're seeing on the satellite and radar that blue, white, purple areas that you're seeing here. That's what we don't want to see. Well, if you don't like that S word, you don't want to see it. Some folks in the Triad, or at least the mountains, could get to see some of that wintry mix by tomorrow. So let's take a look at the futurecast. Nothing to worry about now, nothing to worry about later. Tonight, tomorrow, that's when things change. The clouds, the thick, low clouds move in, making for a gray Tuesday. You can already see that pink and even some of that purple being picked up early on in the day in the mountains. Then you see the rain also moving throughout the entirety of your Tuesday. An ongoing rain starting early and continuing all day. Now, we will get some break in the rain, not until the end of your Tuesday. So more than likely you'll already be in bed, and that's when the rain comes to an end. Now, with the rain that moves through, we could even get some thunder. That could happen with some of the evening showers and downpours that move through. But other than that, things will just be wet and cold throughout the entire course of your day. In fact, what's interesting is Tuesday night will be the warmest night of the next several days, as that forecast keeps us on the warm side with those thick clouds sticking around. Wednesday will also be one of the warmer days of the next 7. After that, just a dry stretch of chilly air.
Well, whether you know him from the show Good Eats or the countless other food shows he has appeared on, Alton Brown is a household name for sure. But you can see him live at the Tanger Center. He's going to be there this Wednesday with his Alton Brown Live Beyond the Eat show. I caught up with him today to get us a preview. Alton, this sounds so cool. I mean, because when I was reading about this, I was hearing things like science and audience participation. I mean, what can we expect?
It's a culinary variety show, and variety shows, if you watched, Sonny and Cher in the 70s, you got to have some music, which we do. My band's going to do some of our food songs, holiday food songs, destined to be classics. There is comedy, hopefully. It's never comedy until they laugh, so you never know on any given night. There's a lot of audience participation. We actually play an entire game show in the middle of this show with people from the audience. And as is always the case with us, there is a very large, very unusual, potentially dangerous culinary demonstration. And there's also some gambling.
What?
In this show, yeah.
Well, now you
Although
got
it's family-friendly gambling.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, now you have me.
You have to bet your taste buds, but not your money.
So when you were coming up with this, you and I were talking, and you said, originally we did this, this, and this, but then now you wanted to make it a little different.
I wanted to solidify it. So yeah, Beyond the Eats is a tour that we did last fall and in the spring of this year, but I really wanted to do a holiday version of it. I always wanted to tour a holiday show because people are so nostalgic about food during the holidays. People are in a completely different mindset, and they tend to look for more family entertainment, which I hope that we provide. So I just always wanted to do that for myself. So we took the Beyond the Eats show and solidified it so that now it's what we call the holiday variant, which I thought was hilarious.
The holiday variant.
I think it's hilarious.
And there's no cure for the holiday variant.
There's no cure for the holiday variant.
Absolutely.
You just got to write it out.
And with so what I think is interesting for people to know here is that you're kind of building this show here.
Yeah,
it's
we're
like a
building it
debut
for the first time here in Greensboro at this wonderful theater. It's really nice to do it in a nice new theater where everything works. That's not always the way it is. So we're here for 3 days. We're loading in today. We're going to build all day tomorrow and rehearse all day tomorrow, and then Wednesday we do the show.
This is perfect. Thank you so much for taking
We'll
time
see
out.
if it's perfect. Depends on how well we rehearse things. You may see some interesting things happen in Greensboro.
Perfect. So the cool thing, at first I thought, I'm thinking, well, how do you do a food show at the Tanger,
Right.
And he said, no, this is he calls it a variety show. I love that he called it the holiday variant, like it's some part of COVID.
Right?
But so audience participation, he said a lot of people will be getting up on stage. He said, at your own risk, because you're going to be tasting and eating and smell. And then they do some holiday recipe type stuff. He's a musician too, which I didn't know that. So his band and he will perform as well. So there's lots of different pieces to this. It's not just him talking about food. Oh, and science. I do food science experiments.
I think when he first started out, he had a show that involved a lot of science experiments and
did.
things like that. Because he is a legend when it comes to Food Network. He's hosted so many shows. Cutthroat Kitchen is one that I'm a really big fan of. So that's so cool you got to speak with him today.
He said that he started out, believe it or not, as a news photographer. So he did what we did. We were talking about gear because he was in the 80s, and I started at the end of the 80s. And he shot for a while, and then he decided to redefine himself in the 90s and went back to culinary school. He said, I watch TV. TV needs food shows. And he said everybody laughed at him. And now,
look at him now. He's like the star of Food Network.
The king, right? Yeah. Wednesday.
We'll be back.
Saturday at 12 p.m. Mic check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Mic check. Mic check. Yes. The Aggies and Running Bulldogs are set to kick off Saturday at noon.
Welcome back to your 4 to 5. Chad, Eric, Lauren, Monique with you today.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching us on News 2, Fire Stick, Roku, and the WFNY News 2 app.
We've got some weather and sports stuff to talk about this half hour, including the freaking cold weather.
Yes, what's going on with that?
You're used to this.
I'm not used to it. In my
passed that
memory,
point. Yes.
it's been there, but not yet. We're also going to be talking about Baker Mayfield being the named starting quarterback this weekend, so stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
More from Monique in just a second, but first we begin with developing news on a deadly shooting at the University of Virginia. Investigators say 3 members of the football team were killed and 2 people were hurt when Christopher Jones opened fire last night on a bus full of students.
Police say the students were on their way back from a school trip at the time. They arrested the suspect this morning.
University officials say he is a student who played on the football team during his 2018 freshman year. However, this isn't the first time he's raised concerns. Police say Jones was brought to the attention of the UVA threat assessment team in September when he made comments about having a gun.
Investigators say they are still working to determine a motive in this crime. This is a developing story that we are following closely. People who get our alerts through the News 2 app will get the newest updates first.
Gun violence is unfortunately a real concern for college students and employees. From 2013 to 2021, every Town for Gun Safety tracked 244 incidents of gun violence at colleges and universities. This includes attacks on others, suicides, accidental discharges, and shootings by police. Together, those reports resulted in at least 155 people injured and 86 killed.
New studies show mental health continues to be a battle for young people. Researchers say that more young people are going to the ER for suicidal thoughts. The numbers are up by nearly 60% over the last 5 years. Now you might think that this is largely because of the pandemic, but reports show the spike started before the pandemic. Mental health, gun violence, and financial stress are some of the many burdens on young people. We're digging deeper into the topic and how you can help coming up today at 5:30.
The balance of power in the House of Representatives is still up for grabs. Some of the most contested races have yet to be determined, but for those who have won, it's already time to get to work.
House Republicans are discussing who they want to be their leader in the next Congress ahead of a vote Tuesday.
I'm fully in support of Kevin McCarthy as Speaker. I think he's done a great job as a Republican leader, and I believe he has earned the support.
House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy could face a challenge for his leadership from some right-wing members of the party. There's a movement to delay Tuesday's vote until control of the chamber is determined. Right now, CBS News projects the House as leans Republican, but Democrats still have a path to keep the majority.
Whatever the number, whatever the control looks like, it's going to be very close, and there's going to be a lot of opportunity for bipartisan legislation.
Democrats won't hold leadership votes until the end of the month. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says she doesn't know yet if she'll run again, but she has support.
The Bulls would still love to have Michael Jordan. I'd still love to have Nancy Pelosi, for sure.
Senate Republicans will hold their leadership vote on Wednesday, but there isn't much of a question of who will win since no one is challenging Mitch McConnell.
The great wrestling champion Ric Flair used to say, to be the man, you got to beat the man. And so far, no one's had the nerve to step forward and challenge Senator McConnell.
There's still one Senate seat left to be decided, with incumbent Democrat Raphael Warnock looking to hold off Republican Herschel Walker in Georgia's December 6th runoff. Nicole D'Antonio, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Keep in mind, voting is done, but final results, they are still coming in. Each election office has its own way of doing things, so ballots can continue to be counted. Experts say it's normal and ensures every vote is counted. In Guilford County, officials are checking ballots and preparing for certification. Then they'll perform a sample audit of 2 random polling sites. They hope to have the entire process finished by Friday.
Today's high temperatures range in the mix of upper 40s. Yes, it's November and we're talking about 40s. What you're seeing on this map is what's usually the average temperature throughout the month of January. It's November. It is cold. And as we go over the next several days, the temperatures really won't budge. They're still going to feel like winter. So we're seeing highs for today all across the area. 48 in Reidsville, 49 in Greensboro. Well, tomorrow will actually be even cooler than today, and some of those mountainous areas already under a winter weather advisory with the potential of a wintry mix. Folks like in Allegheny County have that risk for tomorrow. Elsewhere, we could see some sleet, or it may just be an overall rainy day, really leaning to that side of just rain all day long. The rain and the cloud cover are what's going to limit how warm we get. So although 43 is the forecast for tomorrow afternoon, most of us throughout most of the day will stay below that 43 being that high temperature. We briefly reach that in the afternoon. So all morning and all early afternoon will be below that. And then once we get into the nighttime, the temperatures will be below that again. So it's just going to be a cold day with rain, pretty much just a plain old washout. Our futurecast shows it here. Those thick clouds starting out the day. And then as we move through your Tuesday, this entire map is just going to be overspread with green, which shows you rainfall. And then as we go into the latter part of your Tuesday, some of the rain can transition into some downpours, maybe even some thunder. And then it quickly clears for Wednesday. So Wednesday should be a dry day, maybe a straggling shower in the wee hours of your Wednesday morning. But other than that, it should be a completely dry day on Wednesday. The rain event is on Tuesday, and after that, the forecast remains dry but cold. This stretch of cold air extends all the way through next week. Now, I want to point out one thing here. Beyond the fact that it's going to be cold throughout the day, if you are one of those people who are out really late or early in the morning, you're going to need a scarf, maybe even some gloves, and certainly you're going to want to warm your car up before you head out the door, because those temperatures are going to be below freezing for most of the nighttime lows over the next several days, especially over the weekend.
You know, the 2024 Olympics, they will be in Paris, and check out the chosen mascot. The Paris Organizing Committee for the Olympics and Paralympics revealed the smiling hat mascot today, they call it. Historically, this symbolizes the pursuit of liberty in the American and French revolutions. Organizers said they didn't want to choose an animal or other creature like mascots at previous games. Instead, they wanted something that represented an ideal. Their intentions are to draw a link between modern France and the ancient world. Unusual.
Does it look like a hat to you? Is it like a beanie? It's not a
little
baseball
bit
cap.
You know what it kind of reminds me of?
I don't know what that
it
is.
reminds me of like the
Fidget spinner.
Yes, it does.
The mascot for the American Red Cross, like the blood.
The
blood
drop.
Oh, like a drop.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is
weird.
unusual looking, though,
It's
isn't it?
cute, but it doesn't look like a hat.
That looks like all those, what's that thing that's so popular? Squishmallows. So they ever heard that?
yeah.
That the kids love?
And you would think because it's like France, it would be like a beret.
Yeah.
Or something
Right,
like that.
yes. Tipped to the side ever so slightly. A purple beret. No.
Interesting. I don't really have a strong opinion.
I know,
Me
me
neither.
neither.
But
I'm
someone
like,
got
whatever.
paid a lot of money
Yep.
to design whatever the heck that is.
I'm just excited for the Olympics.
Little hat with legs. It's just funny. I like it. It's cute. All right, let's move on, shall we?
Yeah.
Over in the NFL, a shakeup at the starting quarterback position for the Carolina Panthers. Baker Mayfield set to start against the Ravens this week. Amanda Ferguson joins us and talks about the decision. Amanda.
Well, over the weekend, an MRI revealed quarterback P.J. Walker has a high ankle sprain. This comes after Thursday night's win against the Atlanta Falcons. No timetable yet on when he'll be able to go. Interim head coach Steve Wilkes tells us what it was like telling that quarterback room.
The conversation was definitely just between us as a quarterback unit. I would always say, just like Baker, all those guys want to play. They're so competitive, but again, we have to do what's best for the team, and high ankle sprain, limited mobility for us moving around in the pocket, and I thought it was just best to be able to let him sit this week and go with Baker.
So this means Sam Darnold will be Baker's backup for now. All three of these quarterbacks now have had high ankle sprains this season, all of them happening at home. So it makes you wonder about that turf that they have there. All of them have been injured.
And is Baker like really ready to come back? It sounds like they don't have a choice.
I mean, he played against the Bengals and
Yeah,
he did
that's
okay.
true.
So we'll see what. But it's not because PJ had a bad game.
Yeah.
It's just because he's injured.
I thank goodness they have so many quarterbacks, right?
I know.
Right.
It
I
is-
mean, this is when you're glad that you have all three of them.
I don't even know what else to say.
I mean, it's a way to watch kind of thing. I think at this point they're just trying to survive and get through this so we can get all of our draft picks for next year.
Yeah, I mean, most of the time, most NFL teams they do use their backup quarterback, but I mean, the Panthers have gone through all three of them, so
a couple of times.
I feel like that's not entirely normal.
I guarantee you there is a wide receiver, running back, somebody who also played quarterback in high school, and he may be next on the list.
Goodness.
Oh my goodness.
The kicker, right?
That happens a lot.
But hey, they won on Thursday.
I know.
I mean, we got to celebrate that.
That is a celebration.
Hey, look, PJ's been a really good game manager.
has.
He hasn't, except for the last time against the Falcons, he had a great throw. But other than that, he's just good at managing the game, and he's good at his role, and he's doing what he's asked to do.
He's more mobile than either of the other two for sure, so that's good. We have that much to be thankful for.
Right. But you want to go to a game?
Yeah, we can help you do that. It's that time again. Panthers Trivia is live right now. We're your official home of the Carolina Panthers, and we're giving you a chance to win 2 tickets to their December 24th game against the Detroit Lions, just in time for the holidays. So all you have to do, answer the questions in our trivia contest on our homepage of our website, sign in with your Facebook or email account, then fill out some basic information. The contest is live right now and will be active until Friday at 6 p.m. You can play as many times as you'd like. We'll randomly pick one winner to take home the tickets. We'll be right back.
Hey, Chad, I got you doing some audience participation with me. All right. So you're actually going to have to walk into... What does 2 Wants to Know tell you to do with random texts and links in those random texts?
Delete them. Yes, don't click on them. That's what she'd say.
That is what I would say. He is right. But there are exceptions to every rule. And guess what? Taylor Swift is that exception. Ticketmaster sent this out. And if you're verified and selected to buy concert tickets, you're going to get a text. Ticketmaster confirms, do not delete this text. It has your unique code and the link that you're going to need to buy the tickets. Now, this is an example of what the text will look like. You see that it identifies clearly what it is. There is a link, your login, and your unique access code. Now, I don't want you to miss this. Do not miss this. An official Ticketmaster text will have a 6-digit number up here, not a typical phone number. If you get a text from a typical phone number, then you know what? It is not real, and that is not official from Ticketmaster, so do not be fooled. The official text will again include a link and your login and a unique code for you to buy your tickets. And you should only be getting this if you signed up to buy pre-sale tickets for the show. If you didn't do that and you get this text, chances are it's not for real, okay? And fans and fanatics, which means that they'll do anything to get tickets, and scammers know it, so they're probably gonna be in the mix with all of this.
And I just wish that, I don't know if it's Ticketmaster's fault or Taylor Swift's fault, but why do the text message thing?
I know, I hate that too, because I think to myself, why can't you just go to your app? Right? If you got a notification on your email and you just could go to your app or whatever, but you have a unique code and they're using the text and they're trying to get out as much information as possible to make sure that you don't click on something that you shouldn't click on.
And she's a little bit popular. So.
She's a little bit popular. I mean, I'm waiting for my email and then I'm waiting for my text, right? Remember back in the day when you used to camp out for concert tickets?
Yep.
I don't know if I ever camped out.
Boy, I did.
She's a little young.
Yeah.
Okay.
I camped out for basketball tickets before back in the day. In college, we camp out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and you do wonder if like the Dookies, right? You know, so the Cameron Crazies and all that kind of stuff who do that whole tent city thing, if that will ever go away.
See, I think that's special.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I am a Duke person, and I'm not.
He made sure that he made that clear.
I'm just, where's my camera?
Right.
I mean, that's a special thing
Right.
for them.
But concerts and stuff like that, I don't know that it'll ever go back to everybody camping out and making friends with people.
It was fun.
Everyone's just online like this, waiting to click.
I know.
That's exactly
Yes.
right.
Happy ticket sales, everyone.
All right, so you got to make sure that you check us out on Facebook. That's what we want you to do, because we talk about things that we don't discuss on the news. You might hear about Chad's personal life. You just don't know.
Oh, shoot.
We even have an exclusive Facebook group. If you haven't checked out our 4 to 5 live stream, you are missing out. It's called the 4 to 5 Club. Just search for it on Facebook, click join group, and we'll all see what Chad did over the weekend.
We're about 22 minutes away from saying goodbye to the sun for the day. That sunset already on the horizon. This is the sky view look at Winston-Salem. 49 is the current temperature, and the temperatures will continue to plummet as we go over the next several hours. The current temperatures all across the area are sitting in those 40s. When we widen our view, looking at the mountains, they're already in the 30s. Looking further south, we're seeing 50s and 60s, and all across the nation, everyone's getting a taste of either fall or winter. There's really no in between. We're seeing those fall feels down to the south. That's where we should be right now. And then we're getting those wintry feels as we look towards the Midwest. This cold Canadian high pressure is what's building in and giving us that cold feel today and going to keep us in that pocket for tomorrow. Now, this complicated weather system that's lifting across the southeast is sending in the moisture, not sending in the warmth, though. We're going to stay on that chilly side through the entirety of your Tuesday. And then after that, more of that cold air is reinforced and sent into our area for the rest of your week behind that cold front. Breaking it down hour by hour for tomorrow, the rain is steady all day long. Really not much of a break in it. And if it's not rainy, at least it's going to be cold and gray as the clouds will be thick and blanketing the entire sky. So it's going to be an overall just a gray day to be indoors with the rain and the chilly numbers. One last look at your 7-day before this 4 p.m. hour ends. Tomorrow is the only day with that rain chance. The rest of the week is expected to be dry but cold. I've said it many times. That 4-letter word sticking with us all week. Cold in the morning, cold in the afternoon, cold all in between. The sun will have its time peak out at times throughout this week, but overall this week is very consistent after Tuesday, Wednesday being the warmest of the week with a 50. These overnight lows over the next several days will be dancing around that freezing point.
Thanksgiving is just 10 days away and the holiday is coming up fast, and that means a lot of preparation ahead. So we asked you on our Facebook page about your family's preparation. So far we've gotten one comment from Bonnie Lambert. She says our menu remains basically the same. Classic turkey, dressing, mashed potatoes, gravy rolls, green bean casserole, cranberry sauce, pecan pie, and guests bring other sides for desserts if they want. That sounds delicious. I love a pecan pie, and I like a green bean casserole.
I like pecan pie.
Pecan pie. I knew someone. That's why I said, you heard the way I said it, pecan pie. Some people are always like, ooh.
I know, that's a thing. That's a thing in the South, though. It's just like that one side or the other. I say pecan as well.
Really?
But my grandmother always said, but she emphasized it so much, she'd say pecan.
Okay.
And I always sound like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, when I moved to Mississippi, everyone in the newsroom stopped and was like, pecan, like the whole, I was like, okay, I'll make sure not to say that on air.
That's not incorrect. Either way is accepted.
Yeah.
We've had that story before. So.
Yeah. Fortunately, I have never had to make my own Thanksgiving dinner.
Same.
So I don't have to, I've never cooked a turkey. I've never done any of it. Now I've assisted.
Yep.
You know, as like
eating the
assist.
food.
Yes,
I assisted in eating. Yes, I think all of us do that. I did the green bean casserole one year. I've never done it before, and my mother-in-law was like, you know, because she does a lot of it, and she's like, here, you want to try this? I'm like, okay. But it worked out. It wasn't that hard as I thought it was, but it's a lot of. There's some prep to it. But I was scared to death because it's pressure.
Yes, a lot of pressure, especially if you're the one hosting it or you're making one of the important sides like the mac and cheese. Don't come in with Velveeta, don't come in with Kraft. We want baked mac and cheese. That's a huge responsibility.
Is it bad that I've done this before, where I've gone and purchased something from the store and then put it in my own container to make it look like I made it? But I've never lied about the fact that I had not made it. I just withheld that information.
You don't have to say anything.
I've done it before. I brought the Red Lobster cheddar biscuits to a dinner before. People were like, is this Red Lobster?
We better get out of here. We'll be right back.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Hello, everybody. It is Monday. I will be making a major announcement tomorrow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Area cadet. Hello. Oh.
Two, three, hello, hello, mic check, hello, hello, hello.
Runs there, hits all the way here, runs right into Lake Higgins.
Which runs into Lake Brant.
Lake Higgins runs into Lake Brant.
So that's where it's coming from.
That's probably what.
So any homes with well waters within 1,000 feet of any water source.
It have probably been contaminated.
So, but what about the other ones? Because Lake Brant then goes somewhere else, doesn't it? Check 1, 2, 3, PFAS, PFAS, PFAS. I'm gonna say it right.
It's time for my 2 cents. 3 dead and 2 injured. The news of Sunday's deadly shooting at the University of Virginia sent shockwaves across the country. But for me, it really hits hard. For 4 years, I called UVA home. As an alum, I was saddened to see reports that a student shot and killed 3 people and put several others in danger. The first thing that went through my mind was, are my friends who still live in the area okay? Were any of my former professors hurt? How could something like this happen? It was just this past April when I was back on UVA's grounds for Black Alumni Weekend. It's an event I look forward to every other year. A chance to reconnect with old classmates and see how much the university has changed since I graduated in 2014. Though tragedy can strike anywhere, as a student, I always felt safe. Walking the lawn late at night or grabbing a bite to eat on the corner with friends. When you go to college, you want to feel safe. For many students, it's the first time they've ever been away from family and lived on their own. Knowing that my fellow Wahoos are living on edge tonight due to the selfish and hateful acts of another student is heartbreaking. Let's continue to pray for the victims and their families, the students, faculty, and residents of the Charlottesville community. We will get through this together. That's my 2 cents. That's your 4 to 5. WFNY News 2 at 5 starts now. The University of Virginia community is grieving tonight. 3 students are dead and 2 others in the hospital after a shooting on campus.
My heart is